Yo, what is going on, homies? It's your boy Stumped, back for another OPTC video, and in today's video, we're doing part 2 or part 1, depending on, I'm not sure which video is actually going to go up first, of the Luffy Sanji showcase. And in today's video, we're actually going to be taking on the Kid Forest. Now, this was actually my very first run trying this team, and it did it so well. The abilities that Luffy Sanji has for long content is crazy cool. So much stalling, so much tankiness, so much healing, and so much utility just built into one unit. It's actually so much fun using these guys to actually make hard content look incredibly easy. So this it's a little bit of a tutorial video, but it's more of a showcase for Luffy Sanji and what they can actually do. But if you do have this team and you haven't done Kid Forest yet, it can, not fly through it. It does take its time, but it just makes it look so easy. So the leaders for this team obviously are the new Luffy and Sanji. Their captain ability is absolutely insane. 5 times captain when you're in their dual form at full HP. 4.5 times otherwise rainbow. 1.2 times HP and heals 2k, as well as allowing the 2 times overheal mechanic, which is so strong. That overheal mechanic is ridiculously strong. Their special will change block orbs, or all orbs including block, into recovery. Their switch ability makes recovery orbs matching, which is great. Heals 50 times their recovery, and then can have that overheal mechanic as well on their heal. And if the HP is full, they're going to do a attack boost by 2.5, which is rainbow. Otherwise, it's 2 times. So it's a little bit restrictive in the way that you have to be at full HP, but with their overheal mechanic as leader, very easy to do. They heal up as well, so it's very easy to get the heal, because the heal procs first, right? So it's very easy to get the heal, get to full HP, and then the attack boost gives you the 2.5, which is a very cool thing they've done, and I'm very happy the wording and the structure is built that way. Then they become Luffy Sanji for 3 turns. Now, the big upside to these guys as well, as a captain or as a crewmate, is their switch ability. They're going to change their own slot into recovery, they're going to make recovery matching, and then they reduce bind, despair, and paralysis by 1 turn. The utility of bind, despair, and paralysis removal is insane, purely because it doesn't remove despair completely, which is great, because if you're not using this unit as a captain, you can still remove despair. Now, if it said remove despair completely, it would only be them themselves, very similar to Sub or Koala. And as a sub, you lose out on that switchability effect. I mean, Sub or Koala switchability is very good as well. But getting bind, despair, and paralysis, especially when you're running 2 of them, and you'll see in this run where it is very handy. So, they're our leaders. We are bringing a second one. Mine is Limit Broke Keyed. Not essential for this run at all. I'm very upset I can't rainbow them because of this stupid hunger debuff, but they're a very good unit, and I would definitely max them out if you have. I don't even recommend, I don't know if I'd recommend keying them. I have a thing about Luffy units. I love to have them all rainbowed and stuff, very similar to Shanks units, so I was always going to do it. Now, I do need to change my socks too. I want damage reduction and not cooldown, but I'll fix that later. Next, we've got my boy Shanks crew. This guy just makes content look easy, especially as a sub, giving matching orbs, an attack boost, 3.5 times chain lock. It's just awesome what he can actually do. Now, he is replaceable on this team with anyone else that you really want to bring. I would just bring a very high-powered unit. I just basically have him here for his switchability. That's the big upside for having him here. But you can go without him if you don't have him. But he's been out for almost a year now, so I think most people have tried to pick him up. I think most people pick him up with coins as well, which is really good. So if you have him, I would definitely bring him. And if you did pull him on release, I would actually bring the Markano support. This girl right here. Now, I just goofed, and I didn't bring her, but you want her to remove the sound effects that's on the Hawkins stage. But as you'll see in my run, you can actually get around it without her. So if you don't have her, don't stress, you can do it without her. But if you do have her, slap her on Shanks crew, because it's going to help you out significantly. Next, we have the GOAT of long content, which is VV Rebecca. They're absolutely amazing, especially for this particular piece of content, because they have a lot of defense up and damage reduction. So these guys actually just remove all of that. They give 2 times color finish to Cerebral Strikers, which 3 of the units are on this particular team. And their switchability is just to die for. Strength and Dex orbs become matching. Heals 2,000, 2.5 times chain lock. It allows us to output a lot of extra damage, especially on the King stage. But in saying that, I reckon she is replaceable with someone like the Summertime Robin, or even someone else that can remove damage reduction and defense up, as well as giving some other sort of buff. The only character I can really think off the top of my head would be someone like Rayleigh. The Rayleigh that came out with Roger. He could also work, but then you just have to sort of change your run a little bit, as he can also provide color affinity as well. But that switchability of getting healing and the chain lock, just honestly, it makes this run so smooth. Next, we've got Don Krieg and Jin, another very good dual unit. These guys are here for their switchability of giving us damage reduction. They're also our orb booster for the team, as well as removing defense up on the Hawkins stage. These guys are amazing for that Hawkins stage, as we also have the Akainu support on them. Now, Akainu is basically on him so we can get a full board of red orbs. He's also going to give our strength orbs an attack buff. So if you don't have Shanks' crew, it's pretty essential you bring Akainu as a support on these guys and don't use their special until the Hawkins stage. But you don't really need the Akainu special, especially if you are running Shanks' crew. Finally, we have Usohachi. Usohachi is a god for this content as well. Again, there's a lot of defense up, damage reduction, threshold. He's amazing for the killer stage, actually. Like, he's just like built for that stage, which is great. He also gives cooldowns and stuff to make things a little bit quicker and smoother as well. As he's just a very, very, very good rare recruit. He has got very, very good crewmate abilities as well. Remove special one on the crew, special reverse on himself. He's just excellent. Next, we've got the Liberal Hind as our ship. I love this ship. This ship is my favorite ship in the game. 1,000 healing, 500 extra recovery to Luffy Sanji, which is great, as they are always getting meat orbs. And then they give it a 1.6 times attack boost, which is just phenomenal. Other notable supports on this team, we have Halloween Ace. He's pretty required on Luffy Sanji, as he's going to remove 3 turns of bind on the Big Mom stage, which is just absolutely amazing for us, as then we can use the switch abilities of Luffy Sanji to remove the rest of the bind. So this is more of a showcase video, guys, not really a tutorial video, but you can definitely use it as a tutorial video if you guys have all these units. But it is a pretty whale-centric team. But in saying that, it is one of the hardest pieces of content in the game. So finding sort of like free-to-play options and stuff like that it's not doable. It's just a lot more of a headache, to be honest, especially when I'm just trying to showcase Luffy Sanji. So that's enough about that. Let's hop into the run and let's see how the team performed. Alright, so here we are at stage 12 of the Kid Forest, sorry. So on stage 12, we come up against Beej, Grotty, and Vito. So they put up 10 turns of damage reduction threshold, but it's not really that massive. But we still need to be able to kill Beej on the first turn, otherwise he's going to start blowing away units. So we're going to switch into Sanji, so we do have the Psy variation. Then we're going to use our Luffy Sanji special for the 2.5 times attack boost. And as you can see, we can absolutely just melt through both Vito and through Beej. So big importance there is to kill Beej on the first turn, and then you want to make sure that both Grotty and Vito are dead by the second turn, otherwise they are going to poison you. He's going to like make every color unfavorable, so we do want to try and kill him while the other guy is going to roll our specials back. So we can basically just stall forever on this particular stage. So the idea here is we do want to take out the fire breather, as getting our specials roll back is not the end of the world. Like I said, we can just literally stall forever on this particular stage. And with the switchability of Shanks' crew, Vivi, Rebecca, Don, Krieg, and Jin, it's very easy for us to get those strength orbs. So we can finish him off, easy claps, and then we can take our focus onto this bug guy now. Depending on how many stalling turns you guys need, is depending on how long you have to be on this particular stage. Ideally, you just need to get your Usohachi special down, ready to go by the next stage, and then you can move on. So what I've done here is once that barrier goes away, this guy's actually going to roll all our specials back to the beginning, all the way back to the start. So I have sped it up to around 4 times, as all I'm doing is basically just switching with Vivi, Rebecca, switching with Don, Krieg, and Jin to take less damage and to heal. And with both Sanji as my captain, we're getting around 6,000 healing per turn with the Liberal Hind as well. So there is so much healing on this particular team, and that's the big upside to Luffy Sanji. As a captain, they are so damn tanky. Like, I'm not going to put them on the same level as like V3 Law tanky, but you can't underestimate the power of guaranteed meat orbs. Guaranteed meat orbs is one of the strongest abilities, in my opinion, in the game, as it can easily keep you alive, unless they have like a big death hit mechanic, or if you get them too low. So as you'll see, we're just sort of plotting our way through here, using the switch ability of Luffy Sanji when we need it to heal back up. He hits us for around 6.9 6,078 or something, and we get heal back 6,000. So he's doing literally no damage per turn. He's doing a little bit, but nothing that's even remotely an issue. And if you're in a meat orb, he's literally doing less damage than what you're healing back. So very, very easy to stall on this guy until you can get your Usohachi special back. You can pop the Liberal Hind whenever you need to as well to get your Sai units cooldowns as well, making it a little bit quicker as well. But the big thing you really want to do here is make sure that you get Usohachi special back. Once Usohachi special is back, you can finish this guy off, and then we can move on to the next stage. On the next stage, on stage 15, we come up against Killer. Now, Killer has a counter mechanic, which is very, very heavy. So you do want to be very, very careful of how much damage you're doing. He does have 5 turns of damage reduction as well, so we are just going to use Usohachi special here to delay him for 2 turns, as well as remove the damage reduction. You can only use 1 special in this turn as well, so that is something to note as well. But with the switch abilities of Vivi, Rebecca, and Shanks Crew, we can give ourselves an attack buff, a chain lock. Those two together, just their switch abilities on this team, make this run incredibly smooth. Now, they are both replaceable on this team, but it'll make the run a lot trickier. A lot more finicky, a lot more stalling, a lot more thought process, I guess is the best way to put it. But with the switchability of Shanks Crew, giving that 1.5 times attack is it is so strong, as well as the matching orbs as well. But with Vivi Rebecca, we can sort of clean up the rest of that as well. On to stage 16, now we come up against Big Mom. Now, Big Mom's pretty scary. She gives us a full board of block orbs, and she binds our crew, 2 random crewmates, for 8 turns. So this is where we have the support of Halloween Ace to remove 3. And then with the amazing switchability of Luffy and Sanji, we can just remove the other 2 turns of bind. It works so well. Then we can use the switchability of Vivi Rebecca for a chain lock. Use our Luffy Sanji special, so that way we can have a 2.5 times attack boost. Now, I would recommend being a strength variation when you take on Big Mom when you use their special. If you have Sanji as your other unit, that's fine. But you really want to make sure that your Luffy Sanji is a strength variation for when we move into this next stage. Now, on this next stage, as I mentioned in the beginning, if you have the Markano support, I would definitely use Markano on Shanks Crew. I just totally spaced and didn't do it. But as you'll see in my run, you can actually do it without it. But it does revolve a little bit of RNG and a little bit of tricky gameplay. So what we need to do here is against Basil Hawkins, X-Drake, and Page 1. They put up 1 turn of defense up, which is very, very annoying. But that's where we're actually going to use the special of our Don Krieg and Jin. Now, on my Don Krieg and Jin, I have a Kainu. The big reason I have a Kainu here is just to give myself a full board of strength orbs. We already have the attack boost from Shanks Crew, so that's not a big issue. But we just wanted to make sure that we could make sure we have strength orbs on all of our strength units. Now, as you'll see, I'm in all the strength variations I possibly can. I have used the switchability of Vivi Rebecca, so I get the chain lock. And I do have an orb boost from Don Krieg and Jin, as well as an attack boost from Shanks Crew. If you use an attack boost on this stage, he doesn't interrupt, so you definitely don't want to be using attack boosts. Only stuff like supports or switch abilities will work. But as you can see, because I have the remove sound effects or special effects debuff, it's very hard for me to hit the perfects, as there's a lot of units here that I don't normally use. Don Krieg and Jin, I'm not fully familiar with their attack pattern, and Luffy Sanji I sort of struggle with as well as Vivi Rebecca, because Vivi Rebecca, because of their switch, they have 2 different attack patterns. Dual units are very hard to pinpoint that. So we did manage to kill Hawkins and X-Drake. And now we're going to take our focus to Page 1. Now, Page 1, every turn is going to blow away a unit for 1 turn. So we do want to take him out by the 3rd turn. And it is going to be a little bit of RNG. I actually had to reload my game once, as on the 3rd turn, he can blow away your captain. If he blows away your captain, just reload the game and let him randomly blow away 2 more units. As if you lose your captain, it's basically going to end your run. As after the 3rd turn, he does a huge death hit. And it's just going to kill you, and it's just not a fun time. So, as you'll see here, I am using the switchability of Vivi Rebecca and Shanks Crew, if I can, to get extra attack. I would try and reload the game, just so you can make sure you can get one of their switch abilities off. I was very lucky and had both. But just having one is good enough. As you saw there, my captains got blown away, so I did reload the game. Unluckily for me, Shanks Crew and Vivi Rebecca got blown away, and I didn't have that great orbs on my Luffy and Sanji, but as you'll see here, we still had just enough damage with 1 orb to take them out there. So if you have Markano support, definitely bring the Markano support, as it's going to help you out significantly in hitting those perfects. On to the next stage now, we come up against King. King's going to give us 6 turns of Gloom. He puts up 3 turns of Threshold and 3 turns of damage reduction. Again, with that amazing... The switchability of Luffy Sanji is actually ridiculously good. Guaranteed meat orbs can never be underestimated, and removing blind despair paralysis for 1 turn. It's so handy when it comes to long content in forests. So handy. The Gloom's gone now, which means that we get our HP pullback, as well as our overheal mechanic, and that's where things can get a little bit juicy, as we do still have 2 turns to stall out the threshold and damage reduction. Now, what I would highly recommend doing is trying to keep a Sai orb on your Shanks crew. Now, this was actually my first run, and I sort of forgot what the content does, but I would highly recommend just keeping a Psy Orb on your Shanks crew at all times. Purely because every single turn, King's going to give you he's going to put up a new barrier, and he's going to make that color of the barrier unfavorable. Now, it goes something like Quick, Int, Dex, Strength, Psy. So you can sort of work out your orbs around that to sort of maximize some damage output after the threshold and stuff goes away. But as I mentioned, I would highly recommend trying to keep a Strength, a Dex, or a Psy Orb on your Shanks. That way, you can use the switchability of Vivi Rebecca to turn it into a Psy Orb, or you'll already have a Psy Orb for the final burst turn. As we are going to be sort of taking our time here on King, we are going to try and do as much damage as we can, depending on our orb roll as well. So as you can see here, we did get an orb on our Usohachi, but we can use the switchability of Shanks crew to give an orb to our Vivi. That way, we can sort of start doing damage output. Now, the downside here is when we use the switchability of our Luffy and Sanji, we actually cannot get the recovery orbs matching. As you saw there, I actually used the orb of Shanks crew. I did get very, very lucky, but I sort of didn't think about this while I was doing the run. But for you guys that are following this as a guide, I would definitely recommend having a way of getting a Psy Orb on Shanks. Otherwise, you're playing with RNG. And no one likes to play with RNG. But now you'll see that King is on his 4th turn, so he has the Strength barrier. We do have a Strength Orb. Very easy to get Strength Orbs with this particular team, as we do have Vivi Rebecca's switchability. We have Usohachi as a Strength unit. We have Don Krieg and Jin with their switchability to give Strength Orbs as well. Plus, where Shanks is sitting, he can give Orbs to Luffy or Usohachi and stuff as well. So, we are going to try and do as much damage as we possibly can to King here, as we do have a whole bunch of Strength Orbs. So that way we're not doing heaps of damage to him, but it's just going to make our burst turn a lot easier. So we're on the final stage of King now. He's going to put up a Psy barrier. As you saw there, I got very lucky with my orbs. That's why I would highly recommend having a Psy Orb on your Shanks crew, so you don't have to worry about that RNG. So what we're going to do is we're going to switch with Shanks crew to give an attack boost. Then we can use the Shanks crew special to give ourselves a 3.5 times chain lock. And with that, we should just be able to blast our way through King's HP. If you want to here, you could probably use the Luffy Sanji special. If you really want to. You could probably even use Vivi Rebecca's special, as I don't actually think that's essential at the end of the run. But as you'll see on this particular stage here, you can technically stall out on Kaido for a very, very long time. So after taking all those hits from King, and now we can just go into the Kaido stage. Kaido's going to give us 10 turns of 2 specials only, as well as giving us a burn mechanic on stage 2. On stage 1, he's actually immune to side damage, and I totally forgot about that. So I would recommend not being the Sanji. I actually noticed it, I think here. I'm like, oh crap, I can't do damage with Psy, so I may as well use Sanji now. But we are going to just try and just whittle Kaido down with normal attacks, using Greats every turn, as now he's given us 5 turns of a burn mechanic. Now that burn is like 25k, so you definitely do not want to get hit by that. But with the switchability of Don Krieg and Jin giving us damage reduction, with the switchability of Vivi Rebecca giving us healing, and then with the switchabilities of Luffy and Sanji, we're actually healing every single turn something ridiculous. I think we're healing something like 16k every single turn, and he's only hitting us for about 11 because of the damage reduction that Don Krieg and Jin provides. With double Sanji as well, you're getting an extra 2,000 healing on top of that as well. So your healing potentials for this particular team is insane. You can literally sit here and stall on Kaido until you get all your specials back. You can stall out the 2 special turns only. You can stall out the burn. He keeps reapplying the burn, which is fine because we can just kill him with Greats. But as you'll see, in the way that I do it, I actually wanted to show you guys how tanky Luffy Sanji was. So I actually just wanted to stall to the point where I had enough HP to go into the next stage against Kid and actually take a shot from Kid. If you guys are doing this, I would take the extra turn on Kaido, as he can't really do damage to you. He doesn't hit nearly as hard as Kid does. But I just wanted to show the tanking potential that is Luffy Sanji. So as you'll see here, I got down to 1 turn left on the special cooldown before I moved on, because I wanted to take an extra shot from Kid. And that way I just wanted to show off that amazing power that Luffy Sanji can provide. So after taking all those shots from Kaido, all those shots from King, we are back above full HP, which is just nuts. For a forest, it's absolutely nuts. So we are going to use the switchability of Don Krieg and Jin here, so we can get some excuse me, some beautiful damage reduction. We are going to use the switchability of Vivi Rebecca as well, because we do want a little bit extra healing with the Sanji leads as well. We do have reduced recovery though, so we aren't getting a lot of healing. But as you'll see here, Kid hits to like 30,000 and we can just tank it, which is just absolutely wild. So to finish this video off now, we are going to switch back into our Luffy's. And then we're just going to use, basically we're just going to pop all of our specials here. If you really want to as well, you can actually switch with your Shanks crew now before you switch with Vivi Rebecca. Use the little behind and get a higher chain lock than I did. But it's really not essential. I just wanted to pop all my specials to show you guys that the tanking ability and the stalling like prowess that Luffy Sanji can provide just makes Forests look absolutely like chump change. This was literally my first run trying this team, and it did it so comfortably that I was actually baffled. Like, Roger can put up some crazy numbers and do some crazy things. Obviously, Big Mom Kaido is just Big Mom Kaido. But to do stuff like this in a forest is really, really cool. It's very, very handy. And it's going to make like some very hard content very easy to get through in the future stages. So with all of our specials, we've got a chain lock, we've got color affinity, attack boost, orb boost. We've just basically got everything going our way. And as you'll see there, we actually killed Kid without even using 2 other units. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. If you did, make sure to go down there and smash that like button. And if you want to stay up to date with more OPTC content I post, hit that big red subscribe button too. But guys, most importantly, enjoy the rest of your day. As always, I thank you for watching and I'll catch you all in the next one. Lights!